Pasha Pablo, YNet7, thank you for tuning in the replay. So look, right? I know we've been busy. We've been cranking out a lot of content. We've been working on our businesses. We've been networking. We've been doing the whole nine. So you guys know that I don't waste your time. So I don't really speak about redundant things just for the sake of saying I put another video out. So as far as that goes, as far as the stocks are concerned, you guys know I'm really paying close attention to DarkPulse, which is DPLS, and what I said over the last few videos for it hadn't changed. So there really wasn't, I mean, it goes up and down just like anything else, but it was doing exactly what I said it would do, or what we thought it would do rather. So there was no need for really an update. I think today deserves an update, not actually so much for the reason that it's up 30% in the last 48 hours, but to showcase why this is just the beginning of, it's just the beginning. The stock has been just the beginning since the whole time we've been covering it here. I've been covering it here. So I want to point out a couple things to you to really get the excitement up in you. Okay? So first of all, know that what's going on now is going to be nothing in comparison to once this is finalized. This right here is just a regular Google search on the infrastructure bill. They're looking to spend at least 1.75 trillion on infrastructure. Now we know that's not gonna all get dumped into nuts and bolts and construction in general, but it's a very large bill. And in the near future, what's gonna happen is people are gonna realize that what DarkPulse offers needs to be in every upgrade of every infrastructure, and definitely in every new construction project going forward. And I think there's eyes opening up to that since the structural failures in Florida recently, etc. Like that. So let's take a look at the stock real quick. You know how I do. So all this is I left everything the same. All of my little markings and notes and lines and etc. and the chaos and the madness is all there. All I did was take and extend the boxes over to where they were. None of these levels have changed. And as you can see, this bottom level here, right, has not been breached. Came kind of close, but that's where I was saying, this is the red zone, so to speak. Now, it's been hitting these level lines, these marks here and there. So you can see that is remaining true as focal points that we want to watch and consider. You see how easily, even though it was in the red box, that it came alive and went right back to what I would say is the surface of the red box, that surface line. And now we can put some extra work in and we can get it up to out of this yellow and into this blue zone again and look forward to that green up here that we want to get into. But let's take a look at some things as to why what I want y'all to prepare for, what I want y'all to know, so you guys can strategize as to what you want to do with this opportunity. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just entertainment for you to be entertained by watching me talk about things that I see on the screen here and tell you some of the actions I've taken in my life. Okay, so by all means, if you want advice, please seek a licensed advisor. All right, now that that's out the way, let's take a look at this. So DarkPulse, and like I said, we can't really, hold on, let me go back to this. We can't really be excited if you're holding this long term, okay? There's not really, the excitement is not yet, okay? This is exciting, but the excitement is not yet. This is the rumbles before this is the small tremors before the huge earthquake. This is the volcano. You know what I mean? This is the earthquakes rumbling before the volcano erupts. So why I say that is because what we know is that it's been down, 20% for the last month. All right. So the great thing about being in position with this is that, so when it goes down a little bit like that, you buy into it. So if you bought into this around 7, anywhere in the 7s, or even when it, that was great. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I saw it as an opportunity to get a handful of more. So if you got into that and now it shoots up 20%, well, you're good. But what we got to look at is, so we can't really celebrate for the long term because it dropped 20%. But what the great thing is that you captured all that right back in one day. So we get a couple more days like this, boom, 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 you can see where this can go really quickly. We know stocks out there have gone 100% in a day, 160% in a day. And I'm not even talking about, like GameStop, and I'm talking about more stable stocks. So anyway, let's get into some information here. So this is the order. This is what I think is important for y'all to consider. And if you want to go back and watch some of the other videos I've done on DarkPulse, feel free, and that'll bring you all the way up to speed with where we're at right now. And you'll understand my whole logic behind it and why I waited so long to make this video for the update to give you what's important. So DarkPulse stock makes an impressive move after consolidation, right? So this is topnewsguide.com. It's saying that it was up 18% after announcing that its subsidiary Teradata Unmanned, right, has successfully delivered an all-electric custom NDAA compliant drone system configuration to a client that provides over 60 minutes of flight and a 1.5 kilogram payload, which is the first in the sector. Now, I want to put the emphasis on first in the sector. You know how we like first, right? So think about FedEx, think about United States Postal Service with those last mile deliveries. I know some people get takeout. It may weigh more than 3 pounds, but think about your local takeouts, stuff like that, right? Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to go and get a custom drone, but once the technology becomes cheap enough for the everyday consumer in the near future to afford, these will be the systems that, will replace Uber Eats and stuff like that, okay? And this flight time will go up, and this payload capacity will go up, and they'll be able to deliver more things, and eventually this will be your Amazon Prime delivery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So market action, it says on Wednesday, which was yesterday, the stock surged 18% right? So with more than 37.21 million shares traded, okay? Now I like this a lot because it says here compared to its average volume of 37.4 shares. So actually there was less volume traded during this climb. The reason why I like that is because oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes when you see a surge, whether it's up or down, you see a huge increase in volume, okay? So when the stock surges up and you look at the volume, it's like 200% times the normal volume of that day or something. Or when it has a huge plummet, the volume is really increased. So to see, a 20% increase with, I know it's a little bit less volume, but that's negligible as far as I'm concerned. Let's just call it equal. So to see a 20% jump with the same volume of shares traded in a day, as its average, that to me is strong because it's showing the confidence of the investors increasing with the stock. It's not like there's a whole bunch of new people jumping in and causing flux. Okay, so the stock has moved within the range. We know the range is crazy. for the year and everything. And this is the what they're looking for yesterday as far as its fluctuations. All right. So it says Teradata delivered the custom drone to the client as per their specs, exceeding the current sector offering by over 30 minutes due to the usual payload weight. So the other ones only could fly for half the time, basically. So the Teradata team and this is good. This is actually really good. When you can deliver custom per specs and exceeding the current sector, that means that it also is really that's a really strong presentation to not only the current client but future clients, because they delivered. It most likely appears that it was on time, or at least satisfactory in time frame, and it was to scope of the project. So that's excellent. The Teradata team, under the leadership of Justin D, built the quadcopter drone with 1.5 kilogram payload and over 60 minutes of flight time. Okay, so they repeated that. So in addition, the customized platform offers NDAA acceptable autopilot. And see, this is what I'm building up the story for you. So stay tuned. We're not going to be that long with it. I just wanted to give you this detail here. So remember this here. Except it's got autopilot. Okay. TSO certified GPS unit. Okay. So it's got autopilot and it's got a certified GPS unit, communication links, and ground commands, and a ground command station. Now, remember this too. So these are the elements I want you to remember. Not only is it exceeding the current sector, doubling the flight time, I would have to do a little bit more research to see if the payload capacity, if there was any improvement on payload over the current sector or not. But we got double the flight time. It can carry 3 pounds. It has autopilot, a GPS unit, communication links, comm links, and ground station command. Those are what I want you to pay attention to. Okay? So the CEO of DarkPulse, Dennis O'Leary, said that the design and delivery of the cutting-edge drone tech to the client is a massive step in the commercial drone market and the company's market strategy relative to drone platform capabilities. So, drone platform capabilities, remember that. So in the coming weeks, it is worth keeping an eye on DPLS in the coming weeks. Now, go back to this. All right? The infrastructure bill, I know they got all hands on deck talking to everybody that's going to get a check from that. If they don't, I'm not even going to say they don't. They do. They definitely do. They brought in a team ahead of time. They've been making the connections and partnerships, and they got it together. They're ready to ball out. They got their little production factory now, and they're ready to scale up at will. Okay, so what's next? Okay, we got the rotor drone offering more than 60 minutes of flight. Here's another article if you want to read into Yahoo Finance about it. They cover it. So we get here. So they're also. So some of this we just went over, right? I could probably say up to about here. One of the things that this will mention is future designs, right? Because up until about here is pretty much the same article. This one adds future designs include integrating RTK for mapping, right? Methane detectors and true terrain following capabilities. So let's, for the sake of this conversation, we know the methane detectors is going to be for like their commercial applications, more so commercial, like industry applications, right? Now the rest of this though, RTK, integrating RTK for mapping. Now think about it, you got the top-notch GPS, and then you're going to add the RTK for mapping. Then you're going to have true terrain following capabilities, which means it's going to know the topography of all the area around it, right? These are what the important things. I'm building up something. Give me about 4 or 5 more minutes, and I know you're going to be smiling ear to ear. So there are also improvements scheduled that are intended to further extend the endurance and provide over 4 kilograms of payload capacity, not including batteries. Okay, so it's going to go from 1.5 kilograms, which is roughly 3 point something pounds, right, to almost 10 pounds. So now you can get 10 pounds of takeout order delivered, or 10 pounds of packaging from UPS, which is a significant part of their business, right? Think about if it fits, ship it boxes, at the United States Post Office. A lot of them will be able to be delivered remotely now, which really will be, the skies will be a little buzzy, but it'll free up the postal workers, right? The postal delivery people a little bit. So anyway, here's the next part, right? So remember what they were talking about with the RTK and the ground control and the mapping. That's a lot of technology that's got to be it might need to communicate. So on the 27th, you may or may not have heard about this or knew this was coming, but on the 27th, which was yesterday, it was announced that DarkPulse subsidiary, remember Optilion doing their thing, and Rogent enter into the new strategic partnership under Rogent, and I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, but you see the words there, say how you like, and Kinetic Mesh Partner Program. Now, what is that all about? So we know about DarkPulse. If you want to go to this article, it's actually at their website, DarkPulse.com. Excuse me. And if you go down here to about Rogent Corporation, the Rogent Corporation is the broadband communications technology company that invented kinetic mesh networking. All right, and breadcrumb wireless nodes and InstaMesh networking software. So basically, with Rogent, customers can rapidly deploy a highly adaptable and scalable network that leverages the power of real-time data to deliver on-demand, mission-critical business intelligence. Like topography of the environment, stuff like that could be transmitted back to wherever, so you could map out. Now when it's doing its mapping and delivering packages in your neighborhood, like it can map out maybe that there's a tree here that you wouldn't really see from GPS, and all that could be stored. So next time the other drones, not only do they see it, but they know it's there before they get there, type thing. Kind of like you would know a tree was there in a neighborhood or something that you familiarly travel, that when you come around the corner there's a tree there, you wouldn't fly into it. So stuff like that. But let me continue here. What was that? All right. A low latency, high throughput, and secure. Hold on. This is great. It's great to hit you here. It's great to hit you. So, and secure solution for a variety of data, voice, video, and autonomous applications. So think about your Ring, people that got the Ring doorbells, all of the convenience they have found with being able to talk to people, whether they're home or not, through that system. So you're going to have a drone that can fly up, deliver a package, and probably have some sort of scanning sign-on device, fingerprint, if that's what you guys sign up for, to accept the package, whatever. It's going to be able to have this technology. You're going to be able to communicate with someone sitting at a home office, the whole nines, the works, right? So Rogent's kinetic mesh networks provide industrial consumers with full mobility, following them to take their private networks, applications, and data anywhere. So now think about the fact that with this, the drone could actually at some point have its own, it could actually provide itself its own network while in flight. So, when you go on your phone and it's a dead area, it's because you're out of the range of the network. So it's kind of weird, but basically, in theory, you could put the technology onto the drone so that the drone itself is the network that it needs to communicate beyond its current location. Right? Amazing. And I know that sounds weird, but with a couple little screws here and there and an additional this wire, some engineers gonna figure out how to make sure that's a reality, even if they're close, but it's not the case right now. I'm just thinking things through in my mind of what the possibilities are based on the current state. Okay, so that means that a lot if you apply that. So we know that they got developments in 70 countries, military, mining, ports, rail, all that stuff. So we know all that stuff, okay? Cool. Now, Pasha, why did you just give us all this data that we may or may not know about? Because it all adds up to this right here, what I'm going to show you. And you may have seen this. This is from businessairportinternational.com, all right? Project to build 65 urban eVTOL drone hubs announced. All right, so this is huge. Look at this picture. I mean, I think this is just a rendition, a rendering, right? Now, the technology that's coming in these drones, first of sector and all this stuff, once they perfect it, which obviously it's already at least to the point where it's perfected to be delivered, they're going to be able to scale it up. So maybe it's a little drone now carrying 10 pounds, like you said, 4 kilograms in the near future, the article said. Once you scale that up, it'll be able to carry 400, to be the size of a helicopter. Maybe by the time it's the size of a helicopter, it's able to carry 4,000, which is 2 tons. I don't know, but you get where I'm going with this, right? So they just announced this the other day. What was the date on this article? The 16th of September, so last month, all right? This was quietly put out there. And now this announcements from DarkPulse is coming to show they're going to take some time to build this, and probably by the time they do that, they're going to have this stuff ready to go. This is what I'm getting at. So air mobility infrastructure developer Urban Airport is to develop 65 eVTOL drone hubs in partnership with Hyundai around the world, with the first in Coventry, UK. Okay. Now, the airports will be suitable for use by who? Autonomous airborne drones and electric vertical takeoff and landing passenger vehicles. So they're building these in anticipation that DarkPulse technology, and I'm not saying this is exactly why, but I'm giving you the theatrics of the conversation. So they're building vertical drone airports, basically, right? Autonomous airborne drones and electric vertical takeoff and landing passenger vehicle airports, right? In anticipation of DarkPulse getting their life together to the point where they're going to scale up and have those type of vehicles that size. It's going to be able to carry passengers, and this is going to be your new airport. It's very small footprint. You don't need the tons of concrete and tarmac runways taking up thousands of acres, and this will be able to sit right around the corner in the major and metro populated areas, versus having to be satellite off to the side somewhere remote, and then you transport in from the airport into the city, right, or into the town. You'll be able to land right in town. Okay. So Urban Airport plans to build 200 sites around the world in the next 5 years. So they're building 65, right? This is the current project that's announced. They plan to build 200 sites around the world in the next 5 years. All right. And you can read this article here. Let me go over some stuff here. So Urban Airport will change the way we travel forever, unlocking clean urban air transport for everyone, improving connectivity in congested cities, cutting pollution, and boosting productivity. Excuse me. Now think about your current claims to the supply chain and the shipping, I'm not saying they're going to be sending drones across the Atlantic Ocean. However, what happens once you can have a drone at the port unloading ships that are floating out, few hundred feet out into the sea while they're unloading ones at the port. Could definitely speed up that process, right? You let me know what other applications you could think of that in a situation like I just mentioned at the port, where you didn't think about it a year ago, but now that this is possible, what other applications do you think you could use a drone for to make things more efficient, more effective in your life or in the visible community life, even as far as receiving products, and whether it's from the cargo ship to the port or from the FedEx, regional warehouse or whatever to your door. Let me know what, from the Chinese store to your home, whatever. Let me know what applications you could think of, because it's saying here that the urban airport received 1.2, which basically is 1.65 million towards the cost of building the Coventry Airport from the UK government in January this year. So the governments are going to be involved in funding these projects, right? DarkPulse probably will be in the infrastructure of that, involved with their little technology as far as sensors and stuff, I'm sure. And then on top of that, by the time it really gets popping, they're going to have drones to supply these airports as well for various things, So if they're moving passengers, they're going to be able to move freight, So maybe you get the big drone to come in and land like some of these video games, and then the little drones come in and take the stuff and move it around and do all that stuff, So the company is working with the world-leading hydrogen fuel cell company, AFC Energy, to provide zero-emission off-grid power for future sites. And the first system will be deployed at Urban's Airport in Coventry, all right? So go ahead and take a moment and read this article if you like. I'm showing it to you here if you want to pause the video and read that, or if you want to go there on your own and just look at it. So basically, this is huge because the drone technology and the fact that they delivered the drones, at least the first one, and they have the plans to scale up. They'll be shortly delivering 10-pound payloads. And after that, once they make them bigger, they already are starting to build the hubs or the airports, if you want to call them airports anymore, to service the ability to have these drones flying around the city bringing passengers. Okay? And then if that's going to be the airport, there'll be smaller versions of that are going to replace like taxis and all this stuff. So eventually we'll be the Jetsons. And who's going to be in the forefront of that that profit chain, so to speak? It's going to be DPLS, DarkPulse. So let me know what you think. Pasha Pabo, YNet7, thank you for tuning. The replay.